Hi, welcome to Healing Humanity. My name is Dina, and I want to talk to you today about happiness. So, healing is just the beginning, right? But you have to get to the point where you feel happy even when there's nothing massive going on in your life. You need to be happy to wake up. You need to be happy to serve however it is that you're serving. See, for me, when I was younger, I was so lucky because I took a lot of tests when I was 18. I think I shared this once before. Um, took this class that tested us in what we might be good at, what we might enjoy, and mine came up with a small handful of things that I still recall to today, all of which did interest me and was something that I wanted, you know. So one of them was property management, which is exactly how my life went. I sort of fell into a position and I loved it, and I desired to do that for a long, long time. I was in that field for 35 years of my life. And it made me happy every single day. I was, well, I digress. It didn't make me happy every day. But in the act, like being a property manager, being with these people, being able to handle, the enormous amount of workload that I had, that did make me happy. Not every moment made me happy, and people sometimes didn't make me happy, but most of the time I was going home with a smile on my face. It was always a good day. And that's what we're here to do, right? I feel really blessed for that. I share it only not to say, hey, if you don't like your job, too bad. I'm not saying it from an ego stance. I'm saying it because there are ways for you to find that in your life. Dig deep, ask yourself what you want, find things that can bring these things that you enjoy into your life. I just think that when we're trying to heal, when we're trying to get better, when we're trying to live a good life, it's not about the things that we can amass. It's not about the money that we can amass. All well and good. We all need money. We all need things to live, a comfortable life, right? But it's truly about, are you comfortable in your heart? Are you comfortable in your mind with what you are doing and how you're showing up in the world, how you're serving other people? I dated this gentleman one time, and he thought that he wasn't, his job was not big enough. In his mind, my job was huge, and he did not feel worthy enough and good enough to be dating because he was just doing what he thought was a menial position. And I said to him, I said, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you enjoy it. You go to work with joy in your heart because that's what you want to be doing, and you enjoy the people you work with, and you come home with a smile on your face because you had a good day. Even if it wasn't a good day, you realize that days have fluctuations, but for the most part, you're doing what you want to be doing, and that's what matters. And I always knew that. Just right from the get go. I was very young when I was seeking that kind of thing. Like, what did I want to throw myself into for the rest of my life? I mean, we all think in the beginning it is going to be for the rest of our lives, and things change, and that's okay. And like I said, it leads you to new things. It leads you to new paths that you wouldn't have ever expected. It leads you to new people that you become friends with, and that can enlighten you in new ways. I met so many people. God, when I was, in my industry, God, I was working with legislators. I was working with senators. I was working with representatives that worked for their own towns. I learned. I worked with Teamsters. I worked with doctors and lawyers and so on and so forth. So many different people, so many different areas of business. Thousands of people came and went in my life, and even more knew who I was that I didn't even know who they were. So my sphere of influence was huge, but also what I gained from those relationships was even bigger than what they ever could have even imagined. I was very young and I was running, I was doing a big job at a very young age, and I learned and I absorbed all of the information they could possibly share with me. And I think that that was a blessing. I tried my hardest to be the best that I could be every single day, and I think they saw that and they respected that, and I made some really great friends along the way. And like I said before, even if I don't talk to you now and you're watching me now, just know that I do think of you. You know, how can you not? Throughout the years, whether we always agreed or we didn't always agree, that's not the case. I don't call people now, right now specifically, because I try to keep those relationships safe. Because what I've gone through over the last 8 to 10 years or so has not been safe. And I didn't want to put anyone in any kind of harm's way, or bring confusion or anything into somebody's life that did not deserve that. And so if you don't hear from me, there are reasons. Um, and perhaps we'll talk one day in the future. But anyway, so back to happiness, that it's the relationships that you have, the work that you offer to the world. That's what brings you happiness. We all have to have purpose. We have to have enjoyment in how we give back to people. Eleanor Roosevelt, her philosophy on happiness, I have it right here, is I have never given very deep thought to a philosophy of life, though I have a few ideas that I think are useful to me. One is that you do whatever comes your way, to do as well as you can. And another is what you think, as little as possible about yourself, and as much as possible about other people, and about things that are interesting. The third is that you get more joy out of giving joy to others, and you should put a good deal of thought into the happiness that you are able to give. And she's very well known for her charity work and the things that she did in the world, and she's a pretty amazing lady. And I think that she's right. I think that it's about how we give back, and it doesn't have to be tremendous, and it doesn't have to be giving thousands of dollars. It's not about that. It's about the joy that you have within yourself and how you share that with others. And it's about waking up every day knowing that you get to do what you want to do. And if you're not doing that, I highly suggest that you take a deep look at how you're living your life. Maybe you're stuck right now. We all get that at times. I still go through it every once in a while. I have days where I'm thinking, what's next? What can I do? But that's a key question. What is next for you? If you feel stuck, if you feel like you're not living in joy, you're not enjoying the people you work with, you're not feeling like a sense of freedom in your life and happiness in your life, I want you to sit there and I want you to ask yourself, without your phone, without the TV, without all the madness that goes on around you, I want you to ask yourself, what's next? What do I want to do? And if you don't have an answer for that, that's okay. Just be open to, ask God, what do you want from me? What can we do next? What do you want me to do? And just wait and watch for signs, synchronicities, things that happen that kind of make you go, what was that? And it makes you think, like, does that have anything to do with what I just asked, a couple days ago? Sometimes it takes a couple days, sometimes it takes a week, sometimes a month. But if you wait and you ask and you continue to ask and you continue to pray, God, give me guidance, show me where I can make some changes. What can I do to find that happiness that Dina's talking about? What is that? And how can I tap into that? I want that. I want that every single day of my life. We're here for such a short amount of time, and we're not here to, and you've heard this before. I mean, it's all been said before. We're not here to suffer. We're here to thrive, and we're here to help one another. We're here to love one another. We're here to love ourselves. And I mean, what would the world be like if we all loved ourselves as much as, we expect others to love us? What if you loved yourself more? God meets us where we are at. And if you are not happy, I want you to find that in your life. I want you to find even just a small piece of that in your life and allow that to flourish. When you find one small thing, allow it to grow, allow it to become something bigger for you. I'm enormously blessed, and I'm grateful that I had the drive that I did when I was as young as I was. I believe I was probably like 18 or 19 years old, and I was at a point. I had my daughter, my oldest daughter, and I knew that I had to do something to take care of her. And so I started taking this particular course, like I said, and to try to figure out, what could I do that I would enjoy and would be good at. And so it led me down a path or two that, I kind of explored a couple things, but then I fell into that property management, and that was perfection for me. That was exactly what I needed in my life. It gave me it ticked all the boxes that sort of let me feel as if I was giving back to people, and that I was being a benefit to even just that community, if not, something greater. And so, like I said, I'm grateful that I had that drive at that time. And if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're too old for this kind of stuff, or you are unhappy, unhealthy, just down, and not feeling like life has gone the way that you want it to go, every moment is a new moment to start over. Every moment. So maybe you're not ready right now, but maybe tomorrow you will be. And when you get to that tomorrow, when you get to that point where you're finally ready to make a change or to do something different, there's people here in your life, I'm sure, and around you, and I certainly will support you. It's important to have that courage to change. And change is not easy. Not at all. Especially when you've only known one or two things in your life. Change can be extremely difficult, but it's courageous and it's necessary. It's necessary for our growth. It's necessary for our heart. And like I said, God will meet you there, wherever you're at, and ask for his guidance. I guarantee you he'll find a way to help you. If you just allow him. Allow him to do it. So until next time, my friends, find your joy, find your happiness.